foundation to spiritually share in God's omniscience and omnipotence, the power to be able to affect others because they are part of us and we are part of them. Interesting. This is our teaching that we give to the universe. This is what we gave to the Europeans. They didn't understand it, but they took it in. Wrote it down, they didn't know what it meant. But they still put it down as a record because they knew, not they knew, we knew because we wrote it, we knew we were going to forget. And we had to have a record to remind ourselves. That's how smart we were. They will be back and we'll be clueless. Even though the stars are there, and the stars once spoke to us. They're not speaking anymore because they figured out we don't listen. They want to talk to somebody who ain't listening. But the record's still there in the sky. It's still there in the sky. And we can read it any time. Part of our mission. Everybody has a mission or you wouldn't be on the planet. That's why you came back to fulfill that mission. How many of us clearly know what it is? This mission is pointed to harmony and balance. Harmony and balance. You recognize that's your mission?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so you know that if you have that mission fulfilled, it's suggesting that you, in the beginning, won't have harmony or balance. And that's the challenge. So how did I get like this? Now, people from Europe will be teaching you, well, if you want to be in harmony and balance, you need to be still. You know? Stop. You translate that as don't do nothing. Because that's how they educated you through their system. But that's not what it means, being still. If you've ever seen a gyroscope, that's kind of close to what's being still. It's spinning like mad, but it ain't moving nowhere. So something's going on. The energy is being expended. Consciousness is happening, but it doesn't look like there's any movement. That's what stillness is. Just dropping that. This is where you're supposed to be, because this is what you came to learn about. But you have to have a lot of experiences just to wake you up to it before you even start learning. People say, why did it take you so long? That's because you have to have a conversation with yourself about it. That duality I was talking about, there's this you and there's that you. This you knows everything, but you don't usually refer to it. So it's spirit will never force anything on you. If you don't go to it and ask the question, it's going to be silent. The information is here for you to get any time you want it. You say, well, I'm busy right now. They said, fine, do this. So you go back and you're doing it online. But because the other stuff is what you're recording every single thing so you won't forget. Even though you might think you forgot, when it's time for information to come up, you're supposed to go a bit further. Being unique, being a genius. How does it feel to be a genius? I wonder how it feels to be a genius. Would you share with us how it feels to be a genius?
All powerful.
You never feel alone? Keep looking. That's a good sign.
Spiritually, no.
What about otherwise? The elderly, they belong to the family too, that's not really much.
Not much.
Just so I'll make sure I hear you correctly, what I heard you say is not much. So my mind is showing me, did she say yes? So can you help clarify that? Because this is where we are. We get a conversation, one person says one thing, another person introduces some more information that really doesn't clear up what they were talking about.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ever.
I'm always with someone.
You have never been alone?
Quiet time, you mean as a quiet time myself?
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Okay, I'm alone and lonely.
I didn't ask how lonely.
No, I don't feel alone. I don't think I ever feel alone.
What about in your journey?
In my dreams,
Journey.
my journey,
Yes.
I guess I'm trying to contemplate it because of the two duality of it all.
Well, just pick one up. We know that spiritually, you're okay.
I'm okay.
All right. We're looking at the other person because that's the one seems to be giving me some interesting answers. Because that one, and you correct me if I'm not seeing it clear, that one wasn't taught where to draw a boundary line.
Okay. And that's what I'm really struggling with. Okay.
That's what astrology is showing us.
Okay.
And because you have that ambivalence, it makes it very difficult for you to engage anybody who takes you to that space. Because it's not clear to you, where do I take it? What am I supposed to be doing? And that's the kind of aloneness I'm talking about. That's going to verify who you are in your grounding. The things that you have learned are here just from these conversations. I don't know if you validated or not, that it's made you forget that feeling of being alone because it's not going to feel it.
Okay.
But feelings you don't feel about anyway. You are an action person. You do stuff. There it comes. So feelings are part of who you are. This is what this is saying. Part of your cosmos. Some kind of way you have put it on the side and diminished that part of yourself. For whatever reason, it's not good or bad. You probably saw it as a safety device. I don't know what you saw it as. I'm not even going to speculate on that. I know, all I know is you put it to the side. And this is a part of your genius, because you can't get to your genius with other people that you seem to always have around. We're on the hook now. We'll let you chew on it.
I just wanted to ask a question.
Okay, all right.
I want to ask a question. Like, when she was talking like earlier about like her whole experience as far as like cigarette and stuff, and she was saying how she would say, I don't want to be around this and I don't want to be around that. Is that her getting out something? Is that a experience of getting outside herself? And it's like,
Her starting to reconnect with who she really is.
so that's a experience like the whole thing with her connection.
Right.
Well, no, I didn't say that I didn't want
No,
to.
no, not the experience. No, not me. event itself, I'm talking about
The overall,
the journey, the journey.
what started you even thinking that?
Right.
It wasn't anything specific. It was like, all of this comes together, that's this question.
Right.
But you don't think like that.
Well, I know, I remember saying that I didn't run from it, you know, I didn't have any problems being around people who smoked and
Right.
did those things, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I didn't run from it.
Well, not that, I mean, I understand what you're saying, that itself, I'm talking about, you start going outside of yourself and start, you know, being like, being different, but I can't get what I guess I get from that.
You never did what I was saying.
Like coming back into the house and smelling it and saying, oh, it's so different. Like you didn't realize it when you were in it.
No, when I was smoking, I didn't.
That's what we're saying, that's the
Okay.
difference.
Okay.
That's the different
Oh,
you starting to
okay.
make itself manifest. Even though she's been there all the time, you just never pay much
Just pay
attention.
attention to.
So that's what we're saying.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I guess now we're going to see, maybe we're being enlightened to why we're sitting like we're sitting today. Because when you come to you, learn how to feel and nurture. You put a lot of energy in a lot of other things. Because feelings are pretty challenging to you in a different way than they were challenging to her. Even though both of you have a similarity in not having boundaries set early in your environment, this is a little, I usually don't make theories, but I've been working on this for a minute. I believe this is where we are as a people. We've been yanked out of our blues. So now we don't understand where the boundaries are anymore. And we were looking to find our way. But every place that we look is telling us that, no, you don't belong here, you ain't good enough for this, da 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 da. That's all we hear. The law of Mach says you can't have any preference. You can set up a preference. Any preference is going to be detrimental to you, and it's going to show up as a challenge. And in relationships, mainly. You can lead you with that because you go inside a lot. You go inside and look at things and I'm getting a little fatigued just looking at you. But that's part of your journey. There's nothing wrong with it. It's good. This is how you learn because you're going to come to a point, just like Donnie did, like, something ain't like this. I got to find a different way to do it. This is your mission, about feeling. This is how astrology works. These are the signs and symbols, and I'm just pulling from one thing in your chart, in your makeup. You've got all of that stuff Shakespeare was talking about. So much when you get to it all. Signs and symbols. And because all of us are connected, everything that I'm saying in here this week is coming together expressly for this, is talking a little bit about all of them. Especially since most of them are just sort of around here. That's what have you, what do I be steadfast for? What could that be? See, I have to stand for something, but there's so many things going on. You have a lot of information on the inside. And you don't always communicate, but since you've been in class, you have been more forthcoming. I think that's really good because you're still in the process in your life of internalizing things. I understand it better. But I believe you learn that when you speak out what you don't know, you learn more than you just go in looking for the answer. And that's part of being in the community. That you're learning that's the thing that's probably connected to what you're going to stand for, the strongest that you can't be moved, because nobody's going to move you once you make up your mind about something. Like the whole world is saying that you say, it don't matter to me. You don't think so, this is where I am, right or wrong. No preference, you already got that down. You just need to find one thing for it to be. And you already know it. That's the best part. You already know what it is. Life is simple. It brings us together closer and closer. The closer I get to you, I like it. The more it makes me feel. Okay. I'm seeing an ancient Kemet. I'm seeing the twin pillars, light one in the dark. And you have information in both of them. And the question is, how do you disseminate that? It's your choice on how you disseminate. But the dissemination is really, really important. Now you like to disseminate things, and you have the information, but you could become one-sided sometimes with your preference, which is not necessarily a negative thing or a positive thing, it just is what it is. The question is that serving you the best? By taking that stand. Because if your mission is to disseminate the information, if you have a preference for where you put it, then it's not going to get someplace, just because of your preference. And